Where were you born?
I was born in Glebe Road in Hornsey.
In what year?
1940.
So,
70 years today.
and did you grow up in Hornsey?
Yes, all my life. Yes.
Where did you live?
We went to live with my grandmother in 147 Induick Road, and there we stayed with her up until the time my father came out of the army. When he came out of the army, my father got very friendly with a local butcher, and the local butcher didn't have a family, and they took to my mum and dad as if they were their own children. And he owned, opposite the butcher's where he used to work as a manager, he owned a cafe, and he sold it to my father for a pittance, next to nothing. It wasn't like today where you have to get a mortgage, and it was out of the proceeds of the weekly or monthly takings. He used to pay, as we used to call him, Uncle Fred. He used to pay him so much money a month towards buying the actual mortgage on the shop.
Where was the shop?
That was in 120 Tottenham Lane.
And what was it called?
It was called Ron's Cafe to start with, and it was a basic working man's cafe where the local dust carts, the coalmen, they all used to come in. And then when my brother got a little bit older, my brother John got a little bit older, Dad did an awful lot of outside catering. He did weddings, and he did the local dance once a week down at the Hornsey Town Hall. And because he thought it looked good on the letter headings, because my brother and I didn't really want to know about the business, he called it Richard and Son. So hence it became from Ron's Cafe, got a bit posher, and got called Richard and Son.
And who did most of the cooking in the cafe?
My mother did all the cooking. Nothing was ever bought in. Everything. She had two dustbins in the kitchen, filled with one with plain flour and one with self-raising flour. And she used to do all the cooking: her scones, fairy cakes, meat pies, steak and kidney puddings, everything. Nothing was bought in. Everything. And considering she had never cooked in her life, was amazing how she could make this quantity to know how much of what to put in. But it was absolutely fantastic. But she was the business. It was her cooking that brought all these people in, and they used to come in and take, early days of takeaway, they used to come and take her scones home and take her fruit cake home and her bread pudding home. And my mum said, my God, what must they be like at home that they've got to take my stuff?
Hard life.
Hard life. They were up at 6, maybe sometimes before, to get themselves, because we'd now moved, we'd progressed, we'd got money, we'd moved to 22 Park Avenue South. Very nice house, but it was a bus ride away from the business. So that they were up and out, because they opened the shop every morning at 7 o'clock bang on. And of course, obviously, Mum doing all the cooking. In between, she was doing fried breakfast and trying to cook meals for the 12 to 2 o'clock trade. They had to be up and everything prepared so that she could, at the right times, bang her steak and kidney puddings in the steamers and do her spotted dick and her plain and syrup and put those in long silver sleeves, and they used to go into the steamer.
And what was Grandad doing while Nanny was
Grandad was running around as if there was no tomorrow. But he was always busy because he did all the teas, he did the toast, and then they used to get so busy, and then he used to forget the toast was in the toaster, and he would set light and they'd yell out, "Toast, Ron, toast!"
How many years did they run this business for?
I don't know. 15 years?
And during this time, when my father and you were growing up and they were busy running the business, were you kind of...
We were left to our own... Well, I'm going to say we were left to our own devices because we had a great child in the mere fact that because Dad had the business, so we were looked upon as quite well off, and we was always the first one to have car. We was always the first one to have television, amongst our friends. But that was only because circumstances dictated that we could do that. The only thing that I really hated when I was growing up was not having a bathroom. Hated that. hated it.
So what did that mean?
Well, it meant that I used to be a girl guide and I used to love camping, and used to sort of come home, obviously on a Sunday, and you just really wanted to get into a bath, but because we only bathed once a week on a Thursday, it was a strip wash in the kitchen. And I had two very good girlfriends who were sisters, and their parents ran the local building company, and they used to say, oh, we're going to go home for a bath now afterwards, and I thought, oh, you are so lucky, I wished I could have a bath.
So on the day that you had a bath, what did this involve?
This involved a tin bath which hung on the wall outside in the yard, being brought in and filled up with big saucepans of boiling water, and topped up with cold water. And there was my brother and I. Sometimes I went in first and John went in second, and some other weeks it was vice versa.
Did the tin hold the heat, or did it lose the heat very
quickly? No, it lost the heat very, very quickly. And I always used to be so scared, because we had it in the shop's kitchen, that some of the workmen would walk through to say hello to my mum, although the shop was closed, because we never bathed before 4 o'clock. I was always scared that somebody would come in and sort of see me sitting in this awful tin bath.